by going over the warm-up. And so far, most of you are okay. And I'm going to show you right now. So g of -4 just means I'm going to put -4 where the x is. So I've got -4 squared plus 4 times -4 minus 1, which is going to be 16 minus 16 minus 1, which equals -1. Okay, so remember this part over here, I'm not dividing by it. This is just saying what I'm finding. It just says wherever there's an x, I'm going to put -4. I don't solve for g, actually. I'm just finding g of -4. Second one, g of y plus 2, that becomes y plus 2 squared plus 4 times y plus 2 minus 1, which is y plus 2 times y plus 2 plus 4 times y plus 2 minus 1. So if I distribute this, I get y times y, which is y squared, y times 2, which is 2y, 2 times y, which is 2y, and 2 times 2, which is 4, and then distribute the 4, and I get 4y plus 8 minus 1, and that gives me y squared plus 8y plus 11. So I think what a lot of you guys did, because I saw a lot of you get 4y instead of 8y, I think what happened is when you did this, you didn't actually square this. What you did is you said that y, oh, dang it, sorry. You said that y plus 2 squared equals y squared plus 4, which is not what squaring means. I'm not distributing the square through. Squaring means I multiply by itself that many times. So this is what it actually means to square. So just remember when it's square, I have to multiply it out that way. So I'm pretty sure that's how you got the y squared plus 4y plus 11 on that one. Okay. Not seen your work, I can't tell you for sure, but I think that's how you got it. And then on the second one, third one, this is a function. The domain is -5, -4, -3, -2, -1. The range is 3, 7, and 8. Okay? Because they're individual points, I have to write them out individually. I don't know if it's a continuous function or not, so I have to write it out that way. And then for the last one, for the graph, f of 1 is right here. So the y value is approximately, I'm just going to say approximately 0.25 because that's kind of what it looks like. It's about a quarter of the way up. My domain is from -5 bracket to 3, which is not included. When y equals 2, what does x equal? Well, x equals -5 only because it's included here, not included there. And my range is going to be from 0, which is included, to 2, which is included. Okay? Questions? Is everyone okay? Awesome. Okay, so we're going to move on to today's lesson. First part's fairly easy. You've been finding slope between points for a long time. The formula to find slope between points is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Does it matter which point I label, point 1 or point 2? Not really, as long as these two are the same point and these two are the same point. It doesn't matter which one I label 0.1 or 0.2. So if I'm doing number 1, I'm going to say this is x1, y1, x2, y2, right? And then I say my slope equals 3 minus a negative 5 over negative 8 minus a negative 4. Please make sure you're asking questions if you need them. 3 minus 8 over negative 4, which equals negative 2. Okay. Same thing with the other one. Now I could change it. I could say this is x2, and this is y2, and this is x1, and this is y1. Okay, it doesn't matter which one I call them. So m equals, let's see, negative 11 minus a negative 21 all over negative 5 minus a negative 8. So that should be 10 over 3, 10 thirds. I think that's right. My addition is right in my head. Okay, so you guys are going to do the next 2, please. Actually 3. So go ahead and do the next 3, please. I'm going to pause the recording. Okay, so first one. Remember, another way you can kind of do this, I guess, is I just kind of draw in these little, y over x, and just put the ones that go on the top, just draw in a little picture so you kind of know which ones go on top and which ones are on the bottom. That kind of helps every once in a while. So I've got m equals 10 minus a negative 1. And don't forget, there's always a negative. Just because this is negative, that's not your subtract sign. So I always have to put the subtract sign in there. And then I've got negative 14 minus 18. So minus a minus is plus, so that's 11 over negative 32. So the other thing is subtracting from a negative. If I already have a negative, I kind of think of it as owing money. So I owe $14, and then there's a minus 18, so I'm going to borrow another $18. So if you think of it as money, it kind of helps a little bit. So I owe $14, I borrow another $18. How much do I owe? Well, I owe $32. Sometimes that helps people think about subtracting as a little easier. So adding, if it's a positive number, you have money. If it's a negative number, you owe money. And then it helps a little bit with the adding, thinking about the adding and subtracting and getting that sign correct. So just a little thing. I hope that helps out a little bit. And then here's B. And we got M equals negative 20 minus a negative 5 over 2 minus a negative 19, which is going to be negative 15 over 21, which I can simplify because 3 goes into both of those numbers. And let's see, 3 goes into negative 15 5 times. 3 goes into 21 7 times. So my slope should be negative 5/7. And I don't think anybody, somebody simplified. So that's good. I saw one person. Last one. So I've got M equals negative 10 minus 4. Forgot my minus a negative. Minus a negative 14 over 13 minus 13. No one, I'm just going to say, has got this answer correct. You've given me the fraction, but you haven't told me what my slope is. So this is 4 over 0. What's my slope when it's 4 over 0? Anybody?
Isn't it just a vertical line?
Yeah, so what's the slope?
0.
Nope. Slope of a vertical line is not 0. If you take your calculator and you go 4 divided by 0, what do you get?
You get 0.
I do not get 0.
On a calculator?
You get an error.
I get an error. Very good. Yes, if I do 4 divided by 0, I do not get 0. If I do 0 divided by 4, I get 0. If I do 4 divided by 0, some calculators will say error. Some will say undefined, which is what my slope is, correct? Do you guys remember that word?
Yeah.
Okay, if I divide by 0, my slope is undefined because you can't divide by 0. Okay? It doesn't exist. You can't take something and divide it into nothing, is basically what dividing by 0 says. So that's why it's undefined. Hope that helps out a little bit.
Wait, what if, for like a vertical line?
Mm-hmm.
Like, wouldn't it be like? Wouldn't the slope just be like x, and then it'd just be like wherever it is, you just do like plus the number.
So if I had you know what? Let me see. I think I have some, but if I have a vertical line, right? So here's my Here's my vertical line.
Yeah.
So you could think of it slope as going like up 1 over 0, right? Because I could use this up 1 over 0, but to actually say what the slope is not 1 over 0. The slope is undefined, and that's how they define it. In every math book that you ever see is undefined, not like some number over 0. If I'm trying to find it, if it's a vertical line, yes, I can do that. I'm going up 1 over 0, up 1 over 0. But it's not, there's no x in this. So say this is 2. So here's 1, 2. The line would be x equals 2. So there's no slope at all. There's no y equals mx plus b, right? In order to find slope, slope is always with my x, but there's no y with this, so there's no slope. So my slope is undefined. I don't know if that makes sense. Because with a vertical line, there's no y. If we're looking at the equation. Does that help a little bit? I think we're going to get to that in a minute when we go to the next page. So, okay. So, graphs in here in a little bit. Here we go. Find a linear function whose graph has the given slope and... Oh, so right now I'm just going to write super easy. All I'm going to do is write the equation. So remember, we just got done writing it down. Y equals mx plus b, right? Where m is my slope and b is my y-intercept. So they just want me to write the equation. That's it. All they want me to do is write my equation. So here's my m. 7 is my m. And this is my b. That's my y-intercept. So all I'm going to do is substitute them in. I'm going to take the m out, put the -7 in, take the b out, put the -6 in, write my equation, and that's it. So I've got y equals -7x minus 6. Done. And then for number 2, here's my slope, here's my y-intercept. So I've got y equals 25x minus 3. Okay, can you guys do that? I hope so. You have 4 of them to do. -2x plus 4. And then the last one, we just kind of talked about it on the last page when I had the graph. My slope is undefined. If my slope is undefined, we know that it's a vertical line. So there's no y, there's no slope. So my equation of that line is just x equals 1. Okay, so we kind of already talked about that a little bit on the last page when someone asked me, I don't remember, sorry, who asked me about vertical lines, but vertical lines are always x equals something, and we're going to get into more of that like next class period. I think we spend all class period talking about vertical and horizontal lines. So we're going to talk about that next time. Okay, so the next thing is they just want to know what the y-intercept is, only the y-intercept, that's it. So again, I'm going to look for y equals mx plus b. So if my equation's not solved for y, I'm going to solve for y first. And then the y-intercept is just the constant that's by itself. Some of you guys already know that. So it's just the constant. So in part 1, it's already solved for y. So I want to look to see, is it solved for y? Well, yes, it is. And then if it is, then my b is just, my y-intercept is just, let me put y-intercept instead of b. My y-intercept is just negative 12. It's just the constant that's there, okay? But if I look at number 2, the second one, it's not solved for y. So I have to get y by itself first. So the first thing I'm just going to solve for y. So I want to make sure I have enough room. Negative 3, subtract 3x. Ooh, should have made that smaller. Then I get negative 4y equals negative 3x minus 12. Divide by negative 4. And I'm going to get y equals 3/4 x plus 3. So my y-intercept, now that y is by itself, my y-intercept is just the constant. So y-intercept is 3. Is there any questions about how to do this? This is basically a review, so make sure if you don't understand what we're doing, you're making sure you're asking questions. So go ahead and find A, B, and C, please. Okay, so the first one is already solved for y. So my y-intercept is just negative 2. And then the second one I need to solve for y. So subtract 11x. And I get negative 3y equals negative 11x plus 12. Divide by negative 3. And y is going to equal negative 11/3 x minus 4. So my y-intercept is just the constant. So y-intercept is negative 4. Beautiful. And then on the last one, solve for y again. Subtract 2x. 3y equals negative 2x plus 3. Divide by 3. Y equals negative 2/3 x plus 3. Wow. Sorry, my writing's getting sloppy. So my y-intercept is 3. Okay? Questions? Oh, it's not 3. Wow. Okay. Let's see if I can fix that really quickly. Because 3 divided by 3 is not 3, is it? It's 1 plus 1. Okay, so there's my y-intercept. So my y-intercept is 1. Sorry about that. There we go. The next one wants us to find the slope of the line. Okay, great. Again, y equals mx plus b. This time, I'm looking for the m, the number with x. So, again, I have to get the y by itself. So I'm going to add... Add 3x. So y equals 3x plus 15. Y is by itself. So my slope, which there's really no other letter but slope, or I could spell out for m, letter for slope other than m, or I could spell out the word slope, but that's just too much. So I'm just going to put m. And my slope is 3. For number 2, again, I'm going to subtract x, and I get 5y equals negative x minus 10. Divide by 5, so slide over a little bit more. Y is going to equal negative 1/5 x minus 2. So my slope is the number with x, which is here. So m is going to be negative 1/5. Questions? Are we okay so far? Awesome. Okay, you've got, forgot to push record. Okay, so there's no y in C. So what type of line is this going to be? We've talked about it twice already today. This is a vertical line. It's x equals.
Undefined.
It's there we go. Yeah. If there's no y at all, there's only one answer for my slope. If there's no y in there, it's undefined. Okay? So no y means undefined. Okay? Does that help a little bit? Y equals with no x means 0. And then if I have both an x and a y, I solve for y, and it's the number with x. Is that okay? Does that help a little bit? To think about it that way? Okay. Since no one's talking to me, I'm just going to go on. Okay. So now we're going to determine the slope and the y-intercept and then graph it. So I want to put it in y equals mx plus b. So we're still talking about y equals mx plus b. I want to put it in that form, and then I'm going to graph the line, okay? So solve for y. We've kind of done that already a couple times today. So I'm going to subtract 2x, except now I've got more room. So I've got 3y equals negative 2x plus 6. I'm going to divide by 3. So y is going to equal negative 2/3 x plus 2. So it says right here, determine the slope and slope and y-intercept. So my slope equals negative 2/3, and my y-intercept is 2. Okay, I know for some people this is the hardest thing to do, is the graphing part. So I'm going to kind of go over it slowly. So for those of you who know how to graph, I'm sorry, I'm going to apologize. But I am going to go over this kind of slow the first couple times to make sure everyone understands what to do, because this is a hard concept for some people. People hate to graph, okay? So I am going to start at my y-intercept. So you start at the y-intercept. And I'm going to put the y-intercept on my graph. The y-intercept goes on to the y-axis at wherever it says. So my y-intercept is 2, so I'm going to go on my y-axis at 2. Okay? Everyone okay with that? And then my slope, and then I'm going to do my slope. And my slope starts from my from the point that's already on their graph, which is my y-axis. And remember, this is rise over run. And it tells me how far to go up or down. So if it's positive, I'm going to go up. If it's negative, I'm going to go down. And my run, same thing. If my run is positive, I'm going to go forward. If my run is negative, I'm going to go backwards. And that's it. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to go forward or backwards that number. So this says down 2, negative 2. So I'm going to go down 2 and forward 3. 1, 2, 3, and put a point. And I'm going to do it again because it's kind of a step. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So I could draw in the steps here. And it just, if you think about it as making a staircase, it should be even staircases. And because it's a line, it goes in both directions, which means I can also write my slope the opposite direction. I could do 2 over negative 3, and I could go up 2, 1, 2, and back 3. And I think that's the hardest concept that people don't understand, is going the opposite direction. 2, 3. But if you think the steps just continue, see how it's a nice little staircase? Kind of think of it that way too. And then I'm going to attempt to draw a straight line through these points. It's probably not going to work too Oh, that wasn't too bad today. Awesome. Okay, and there's my straight line. Okay, I know it's right. It has a negative slope. My slope is negative. How do I know it's negative? Because from left to right, it's going down, and it goes through -2. And I've got my little staircase that goes down 2 and forward 3 all the way across. Okay, is there any questions on that? Okay, we're going to do the next one, doing the same thing. Okay, so I'm going to solve for y, subtract 5x, and I get -4y equals -5x plus 4. Divide by -4, and y is going to equal negative divided by positive. So 5/4 x minus 1. So my slope is 5/4. Oh, that is not a 4. 5/, let's try that again, 5/4. Or it could be -5/-4. Negative divided by negative is still a positive. So I could either go up +5 and forward +4, or I could go down 5 and back 4. It would give me the same step that I'm trying to make. And then my y-intercept is going to be -1. So I'm going to start on my y-intercept. So I'm going to go to my y-axis to -1 and put a point. And then I'm going to go to my original slope. They're the same slope. I just want you guys to realize or think that this, and to know that this is the same as this. They're exactly the same because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So I can go in either direction. It's just so I know I could go in either direction. So I can go up 5, which I'm going to do first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Forward 4, 3, 4, and put a point. And I don't think I can go again. Nope, I can't because I can only go up 4. So that means I'm going to go and do my other one because I usually like 3 points. It helps me draw a straight line a little better. Unless I have a ruler, which I don't on this. If I'm doing it on paper or pencil, I just slap down a ruler and draw my line between those 2 points. It makes sense, but here I can't. So I'm going to draw in 3 points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I've got my steps. I can do my steps either way. I can go up and over and up and over. And I've got 2 steps there that are up 5 and over 4. Okay. And then there we go. Kind of a straight line there. Okay, any questions? Because you guys are going to do this next. Now, I know you cannot show the graphs in the chat box. You can't do it. I've had some people take pictures and share them to the chat box. If you want to do that, that's great. But you can put in your slope and your y-intercept to make sure you've got that right. And if you're still having difficulty graphing, let me know, and we can go over that. I can keep going over that. I will keep going over that as we review, but I'm going to give you like a couple minutes each for the graph to find the slope, y-intercept, and graph it, and then we'll go over it. Is that okay? Okay, there you go. That. Great. So solving first, I'm going to subtract 4x. Make sure if you're not understanding something I do, you ask in the chat box, please. So I've got -3y, or ask out loud. I don't care. I don't care how you ask. Just ask. Equals -4x minus 3. Divide by -3. Y is going to be 4/3 x plus 1. So remember a negative... How did you go? Okay, make sure if your answer is not the same as mine, if you can't figure out what's not the same, what went wrong, make sure you ask me and we can talk about it, okay? So my slope is 4/3, Or I can say they're both negative, -4 over -3, that's fine. And my y-intercept is 1. So on my graph, I'm going to start at 1. Because on the Delta Math, by the way, you guys, you are going to have to graph the line. So make sure you know how to do it. And then I'm going to go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, over 3. And I can't do it again. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And there we go. I've got 4 points. Great. And there's my line. Questions? Okay. So I think we have three more to do, I think. Is that right, Harrison? I think you got 4 up there. Yeah, good. Recording. Beautiful. So like I was already saying a little bit, I'm going to subtract the 4x. Right? And I get 5y equals -4x. Even though I subtracted it, it still turns into, I know it's kind of weird. I subtracted it. It's still a negative sign. If I subtract it, it's still in the front. It's still a subtract 4x, which sometimes is the same as a negative. So it's still a -4. So don't drop that. And then divide by 5, divide by 5. So y is going to equal -4/5 x plus 1. So my slope is going to be -4 over 5. And my y-intercept is going to be 1. So I'm going to start at 1 again. And this time I'm going to go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I don't have, nope, I don't have any other room to do another one. So I can do the opposite too. I can go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And back 5. Just switch my negative to the bottom. It still gives me the same slope. And then attempt to draw a straight line. I think my lines have gotten better on the iPad than on the smart board. There we go. Okay. And I think some of you have already, a lot of you, yes. Yes. Good, Oscar. A lot of you have already gone on to do part C because you saw the equation up there. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it also, if that's okay with you guys. So I've got subtract x. That gives me 2y equals -x plus 4. Divide by 2. So y is going to be equal -1/2 x plus 2. So my slope is going to be -1 over 2. And my y-intercept is 2. Is there any questions about that? Okay, so I'm going to start at y equals 2. On my y-intercept, I'm going to start at 2. And then my slope says down 1 over 2. So down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2. I can do a lot of these. Beautiful. And I can go up 2, up 1, back 2, up 1, back 2. And then definitely draw a straight line here. I think that's my worst one today. Okay, questions? Okay, so last one is right here. And then we're going to do work on. So for the last one, it looks like most of you guys have got the at least solving for y down. Good job. So subtract 3x. So I've got 4y equals -3x minus 16. Divide by 4. Y equals -3/4 x minus 4. And then my slope is -3 over 4. And my y-intercept is -4. I don't know why I'm trying to do this. So low. Okay. And then I'm going to go to -4 on my y-intercept. So it's -4. And then I'm going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3, and over 4. 3, 4. Or I can go up 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I probably can get another one in here. 1, 2, 3. Oh, great. Beautiful. And there we go. Okay, so there's how to graph. We're going to switch to Delta Math. I'm going to upload these to our notes. It'll take longer to upload them to the YouTube, so I'm going to do that later because I have a class in a shorter amount of time than it will to upload it to YouTube. So we've got about, let's see, 12 minutes, 13 minutes until class is over. So you have about that long to work on the Delta Math. You should be able to get a lot of it done by then. I'm going